राम राम भाइयों और बहनों, आपका स्वागत है मेरे चैनल वेक्टर रूट 3 पे। यहाँ पर आपको मिलेगी हर एक टॉपिक पर वीडियो और कोर्स, वो भी बिल्कुल फ्री में।
आपको ये कम करना होगा, हमारी वीडियो को पूरा देखना होगा और लाइक करना होगा और कमेंट करना होगा और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना होगा ताकि आपको नई वीडियो सबसे पहले देख सके।
Lecture in which we are going to put ChatGPT to the test for its image generation capabilities, and we are also going to talk about some basic image generation models. So yes, you can already see them. So there is GAN, there is VAE, and there is also a diffusion model. But first, let's actually see what is happening here. So in the previous lecture, if you remember, at the end, I asked it to add some more stoves, but I don't think it has done that. However, it looks pretty nice anyways. So yes, props to ChatGPT for creating such a nice image. And yes, this was the original one, and I don't think there are any more stoves. So yes, let's get to the point of this particular lecture. Let's put ChatGPT to the test. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new chart. And here I'm going to give it a prompt for image generation. So what I can do is I can either click on plus, or I can just put this particular slash, and there I can just say that I want image creation. Okay, create image. And now it's in the image creation mode. I can also choose styles. So there's cyberpunk, there's anime. Well, nothing like that. What I'll do is I'll describe exactly what I want. And for the first example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an image, because ChatGPT is kind of infamous for, not labeling things properly. It struggles with text a bit. So this is what I'm going to do. I have asked it to create a simple diagram of water cycle. I want it to include labeled arrows for evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. And I also wanted to use a clean, minimal style with clear headings and soft blue tones. So yes, let's actually decipher this particular prompt first. So we already know that ChatGPT struggles a bit with the text. So that's why I have asked it specifically to have all of these labels. Now, one more thing is that I'm telling it exactly what I want. And that makes sure that I'm exactly getting the output that I desire. So yes, if you want image creation from ChatGPT, be as specific as you can be with your particular prompt. So yes, this is what I'm going to send to it. And while it creates the image, we are going to see what is a GAN. So yes, GAN, I didn't pronounce it properly, but now I have done. Let's just send in the prompt. So I have already put on the image generation, and now it's going to create something for me. So getting started. And while it's creating, let's go to GAN. This is one kind of image generation model, and it basically has two components. So there is a generator and there is a discriminator, and both of them, they are competing with each other. The generator will create an image, and before I actually explain, I am taking this whole example from developers.google. So yes, this is their property, but yeah, all right. So there is the generator, which will create or try to create an image, and discriminator will tell if it's real or fake. Now, there is one thing that you need to consider, that all of these, models that we are going to see, they all have a lot of data. If you tell them to create a dollar note, they already know what a dollar note is. They have a lot of data for that. So yes, this generator already has a lot of data. It has been fed all the data. It knows exactly how a dollar looks, and it tries to create that. And the discriminator, it basically sees the real data and it goes like, okay, this particular image that you have generated is fake. And then this data goes back through an adversarial network back to the generator, and generator tries to make a better image, which goes back again to the generator, and it goes on and so forth till the generator creates an image which the discriminator can't tell is fake. So yes, this is one generative AI image creation model, and it is mostly used in face swap technologies or deep fakes or things like that. What is ChatGPT using? That's basically called a diffusion model, and we are going to see that later. But meanwhile, let's come back to our, the water cycle, and it looks pretty nice. So you see condensation, all right. So evaporation happens from the water. It has used the, soft blue tones, which I asked it to. So evaporation happens, then it goes into the cloud, then condensation happens there, and then it rains, which results in precipitation, and then the water is collected. All right, it looks pretty cool, but I want to test it even more. I'm going to test ChatGPT to its limits, and what I'm going to do is I will ask it to generate the same image, but this time in a more playful and colorful manner with cartoon style illustrations and bold text labels. Now, if I go to styles, we can already see there is an anime type, illustration. But what if I can do that same just by, giving in a prompt? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And let's wait for it to create an image. All right, it is getting started. Let's go to our second type of, image generation model, which is variational autoencoder. And here I'll have to talk about a lot of things. So a variational autoencoder, this is a very mathematical model. And if I actually start talking about the mathematics behind a variational autoencoder, that would be way beyond the scope of this particular course. So I'll try to talk in very layman terms. So the basic core idea of an autoencoder is basically to compress the data that it already has, then send it to a latent space. Now, latent space is something that comes up in all of these models, and latent space basically means that imagine you have an image of a dog, all right, and the dog, his face has a structure, his eyes has a shape, and the dog in itself has a color. So all of these details, all the shapes, the shapes of the face of the dog, his eyes, his nose, his mouth, all of these shapes are sent to a lower dimension, which we call the latent space. And when it comes to the decoder, which basically, creates the image again, then it picks up all the shapes and colors from the latent space and creates a new image out of it. So yes, this is how a variational autoencoder works. And I'm taking it from medium.com. And actually this whole article, it has been explained really well about how a VAE works. So you can definitely go here. So basically an encoder, which is this part, it is going to map out the input. It will send it to latent distribution. Then the latent vector will be sampled from the particular latent space, and the decoder will try to reconstruct the image, but this time it will be slightly different. And these VAEs, even if you don't know much about them, it's completely fine because they are not used a lot. They are normally used in like medical anomaly detection, or they serve as a helper of diffusion models, which we are going to see shortly. Let's actually see our water cycle diagram. It has created it already and it actually looks really pretty. So this is in cartoon style and I actually really like it. So if you are a teacher, you can just show your kids this particular image, or you can ask ChatGPT to create a new one for yourself with, different details. So yeah, it looks pretty nice and the texts are pretty good, and I am using ChatGPT 5. Even though people say that 4.0 was better at creating image, but I don't have any problems. ChatGPT 5, which you are going to use on the free version or the Go version, or if you have the Plus version as well, ChatGPT 5 creates really nice images and you can already see for yourself. But I'm not really satisfied, so I'm going to test it even more. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another chart and I'm going to give in another prompt. And this prompt will be a little more artistic than we were actually going for. So let's create it simply. And, I'm just asking it to create an illustration of a forest at sunset. Let's see what it creates for us while we talk about a diffusion model, which is actually ChatGPT 5 using right now to create all these images which I'm asking it to. So let's go here. And it is a bit more complex, but again, I'll try my best to explain it in layman terms. So let's go back to our forest sunset illustration, and you see all of this image, which is actually now creating. You see this blur, this noise that was actually happening. This is not disappearing, and yes, the image is being created. But okay, it is already created. So the image looks actually really crisp and sharp. But I want to do something more with it. I'm going to put ChatGPT to the proper test. But first, I want to talk about the diffusion model. And that's exactly what we are going to do right now. So think of diffusion model as something that creates something out of just noise. So this noise that you were seeing, at the start, everything looked like TV static. This is what happens at the start. So in the diffusion model, basically what happens is there is an original image. There is a lot of data, and from that there will be an original image. And what will happen in a forward diffusion is there will be a slight noise added, and then there will be more noise added. All right. And this will all be sent to basically a latent space, and there is a lot of mathematics which we need not consider, but we just need to know how the image is being created. Basically, after this forward diffusion happens, there happens a reverse diffusion. All right. From that, out of this noise, the model will try to, remove the noise and create an output which looks very similar to what we are asking it to generate. So yes, this is how these models work. Basically, image generation models work. And if you want to learn more about them, there is definitely these really nice articles. You can actually go to Medium as well, which has everything explained there. But all of these mathematics and, if I start explaining how they exactly work, it will be way beyond the scope of this particular course. So I'm not going to do that, but I hope you understand how this is working. You have already seen in the forest sunset illustration that there was at start a lot of noise, but the image came out of that noise. So yes, this is the diffusion model, and it is used by ChatGPT, or basically ChatGPT is using DALL-E 3, which is an image generation model which uses this diffusion model. There is also Midjourney, which uses the similar thing. There is also stable diffusion, which is another model which I'm going to show you. So stable diffusion we are not going to cover in this course, but it is again an open source image creation, not imagine.r. That is not what I'm looking for. Stable diffusion, yes, stable diffusion web. So it is a deep learning model used for converting text to images, and it will generate high quality images. And as of Midjourney, we have a particular section for that particular tool. So yes, we are going to see it there. But yeah, all of these are using this diffusion model. And that's how they create images. All right. Out of noise, and they already have all the data. So that is how they are creating it. And this image actually looks really crisp. But I actually want to add little more depth, and I think I would like to see it in more funky style. And for that, what I'll have to do is I'll have to exactly tell what I want. So I am telling ChatGPT that create an illustration of a forest at sunset, exactly what I had given it before, but this time make it cinematic. I want it highly stylized with vivid colors, dramatic lighting, and lots of visual depth. And again, the basic reason I'm doing that is to explain to you how your words matter and how just one single thing will change the complete output. And let's actually just check it out. And now it's going to take its time to create the image. So let's give it its sweet time. We already know what all of these, image generating models are in layman terms, of course. But yes, I believe that's enough. And of course, you can just go and read about them. But here, let's wait for it to generate the image. All right, so the image has been created, and you see the difference between these two images. I mean, the difference is very drastic. But you see, this is so much more dramatic. And I have introduced a few words, but even if you said dramatic, it would have, changed the complete output. So yes, whenever you are trying to create images out of, ChatGPT, just give it specific keywords that you are looking for: dramatic, cinematic, or mythical, whimsical. All of these make a lot of difference, and I'm going to show you some more examples now for the same image. What I'm going to do is I'm going to restyle the same image in style of Studio Ghibli illustration. I mean, some people call it Ghibli, so yes, don't come at me for that. Studio Ghibli illustration, I want it to be soft, hand painted, and whimsical. Now there is a slight chance that ChatGPT doesn't create it for me, but let's see a workaround of that as well. But I believe it's just going to do that for me because it won't change faces, but it can still take up the style of Studio Ghibli. So yes, we are going to wait for it, let it create the image, and then we are going to see how drastically it has changed from the previous two outputs. Alright, so now the image has been generated, and you see the drastic difference. One was simple sunset, and then I asked it to be a little more dramatic. I wanted, more lighting. I also wanted a lots of visual depth. And now you see it's a very, soft hand painted kind of image now. And it looks actually really nice, and I can just compare them like this as well. So I'm just using my arrow keys to just toggle between them. And you see the difference for yourself, and it actually looks really nice. So now we have tried creating diagrams using ChatGPT, which was actually a huge success. We have also tried creating something very artistic. Now, like my terms of artistic might not coincide with yours, but it looks pretty nice. You know, this is the first thing that we start drawing when we actually pick up the paint. So yes, it looks nice. It looks artistic. Now let's actually try something more practical. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new chat, and I also urge you to try these image generation models for yourself. Not image generation models, but just chat GPT for image generation. You know, try to create it for art, give it specific instructions. What exactly do you want to see? Like you can ask it to create mountains and then a hut and then like, a river flowing through that. The basic diagram, you can try that as well. I just urge you to, try to create images from ChatGPT because it's going to help you become a better prompt engineer. You will know exactly which input is getting what output. So yes, go try that. For now, let's try something else. So we have already seen a diagram and we have also seen some artistic styles. Now let's try creating a logo using ChatGPT. So I have told ChatGPT that it needs to design a logo for a bakery called the Natura Bakery. Now this is all hypothetical, and that bakery has a lots of plants in it. Make the logo with a transparent background. Again, I am being very specific with what I want. And I also wanted to include a stylized leaf representing the green indoor vibe and also a bread icon because it is a bakery. Make it modern and minimal. Use a soft pastel color palette. And again, you can create logos out of ChatGPT as well. And even if you are not using ChatGPT to create a logo for you, you can still draw inspiration from the images that ChatGPT creates for you. And it is really helpful. Let's actually try to see what it creates for us. And I'm going to give it its sweet time. Of course, we're going to see when the image is generated. Alright, so now the image has been created and I am super impressed. It is a PNG and the background is completely empty. So I can just actually copy paste it anywhere. I can make it a logo and it looks actually really nice. So there is bread and there is also like, the leaves that I asked it to add. And I can actually do a little more things with it. So let's try to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to add a tagline, baked with love and in midst of nature. I mean, it's not a really nice tagline, but that's all I could come up with. And I want it to be placed underneath the logo in clean sans serif font. Let's actually see if it can generate that for me as well. While I can appreciate this particular image, and I'm going to save it and I'm definitely going to pitch it to somebody. So I can just download it from here or I could just ask to edit it even more. But yeah, that looks actually really nice. And this is getting started. Let's wait for it to create. Alright, so the image has been created and genuinely it looks really nice. It is exactly how I wanted it to be. And to be really honest, it is a pretty cool logo which can actually be used for a real bakery. So yes, if you're thinking of opening a bakery, then definitely go ahead and choose this because it is copyright free. Of course, it is generated by AI and it looks really nice. Now I want to put ChatGPT to the real test now. We have seen diagrams, we have seen art, and we have seen logos now. But this one is for the UI UX people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new chat and I'm going to plug in this prompt. So basically imagine that you are making a new finance app, and for that, for the UI and UX, you need a few things. You want flat icons, a dollar sign, a piggy bank, a credit card, a bar chart, and a wallet. And I have asked like ChatGPT to use blue, purple color scheme and a minimal style. Can ChatGPT create that for me? Because that would be really nice. And I want to add one more thing. Keep the background transparent. All right, I forgot the K. I mean, even if I didn't add it, the ChatGPT would understand what I'm trying to say. But yes, this is what I want. Create a set of 5 simple flat design icons. A dollar sign, a piggy bank, a credit card, and a bar chart, and a wallet. Alright, let's see if it can do that. And if it can actually do that, then it is just game changing because this makes it so much easier to just generate new icons which are copyright free. So let's see if it can generate. So getting started, we are going to wait for it to generate and then we are going to see what is happening. Alright, so the image has been created and it genuinely looks nice, but I want to test it a little more. So you see, these are just outlines. What if I could have these icons completely solid? So let's actually try that as well. Keep the icons completely solid, and I have given it the prompt, and now I can actually appreciate how it looks. So the background is transparent, and yes, of course, this is very usable for a finance app. So there is the bar plot, there is the wallet, this is the credit card, dollar sign, and the piggy bank, and they all look really, really nice. Now let's see if it can actually, make them solid as well. And if it can do that, that would be really, really amazing. Because then I'll have icons for everything, and it is already generating. So let's see what is happening. Image has already been created, and here the icons are completely solid. And yes, the piggy bank and the credit card now looks even better. So this was just the outline version, and now these are the solid versions. The wallet is a bit choppy, but it's completely fine. I have got what I expected, and ChatGPT has got full points from my side so far. But I want to try a few more things with ChatGPT before I conclude this lecture. So we have generated images so far. But what if I could give ChatGPT an image and ask ChatGPT to suggest some enhancements? Let's see if I can do that. So I'm just going to open a new chat and I'm going to send in a picture. So add photos and files. So this is what I have on my desktop. So this is the image that I want. Again, it was created by ChatGPT. So what I'm going to do is I have sent in the image and I'm going to just write a prompt by myself now. Alright, so I have typed in the prompt, which is basically suggest how I can make my living room look more cozy. Now, this is also an AI generated image, and I mean, it looks a little cozy already, but I can also see some things which I can do to make it look more cozy. Let's see what ChatGPT suggests. So not enter, but yes, just send, and let's see what ChatGPT can suggest to me. Because now we are just changing the whole thing. We are not asking it to create images. We are sending it images and asking enhancements. And you can actually do it for yourself. You can just take a picture of your room and ask ChatGPT to suggest what you could do to make it more gothic, or maybe more minimal, have more walking space, and a lot more things. The possibilities are endless. Okay, so it has already suggested me suggestions to make your living room more cozy. All right. Add warm textiles. All right. Layer a soft throw blanket on the sofa. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Introduce ambient lighting. Yes, because there is mostly sunlight. So yes, that makes sense. Place candles or LED tea lights. Personalize with decor. Okay, yes, because I was also thinking that the wall looks pretty empty. Again, this is an AI generated image, but I was just running the horses off my head of what I could do to make this look more cozy. And I definitely thought that this wall could use some artwork, and that is exactly what it is suggesting. And all right, let's see more things. So it is saying increase natural warmth, swap the plain curtains for textured linen or soft patterned drapes. All right, makes sense. Introduce warmer tones in accessories. All right, that also makes sense. Enrich with greenery. All right, yes. A little more plants could do. I mean, this shelf could have a little more plants. And yes, the artwork is exactly what I was looking for, and it has given me some really good suggestions. And you could do this for your own room. And now I'm going to try one more thing, and that is what I'm going to do is I'm going to send in an image of a plant. So let's go here, and here is the image. So this is what I have downloaded. It is a hibiscus plant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask ChatGPT, what is this plant and how I can take care of it. And while it's actually generating its output, I can talk about this thing as well, that you can do this for a lot of plants. So if you are actually unaware of anything that is in your household, you can just ask ChatGPT what this is, and it is going to tell you exactly what it is. And if you are specifically asking for plants, it can also tell you how you can take care of that particular plant. So this is hibiscus, good health plant. specifically the red hibiscus. All right. So care instructions, it requires 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, watering, keep soil consistently moist but not waterlogged. All right. Water when the top 1 or 2 inches of soil feels dry. Okay. So soil prefers well draining fertile soil. Temperature and humidity should be around 18 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. Fertilizer, well, I don't think that is much needed, but use a balanced liquid fertilizer. This is what it is suggesting. Pruning. Okay, so if anything actually goes bad, I should just cut it. Trim back lightly after flowering to maintain shape and encourage new growth. Okay. Remove yellow leaves or dead branches regularly. All right, that's what pruning means. Pests and problems. Watch for aphids, mealybugs, whiteflies, and spider mites. Okay. Neem oil spray or insecticidal soap works well if infestation occurs. All right. So it has told me everything that I need to know to take care of the plant. And you see the possibilities. Like I'm just talking about plants right now. Imagine you just did some grocery shopping. You can just click the picture of all your groceries and ask ChatGPT to prepare some meals for you. It can do that as well. And this is an amazing feature. You can just send in a picture and ChatGPT will respond you according to your prompt. So yes, that is great, and it is actually a life-changing way of using ChatGPT. If you are unsure about anything, you can send in a picture and ChatGPT will tell you exactly what it is. If it's a living thing, you will know how to take care of it. Even I can send in a picture of my dog and it will tell me exactly what the breed is, what their behavior is, and all of that stuff. So yes, the possibilities are completely endless, and I definitely would encourage you to try ChatGPT image generation and also like asking questions from the image to ChatGPT by yourself. And that is pretty much it for this lecture, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Till then, keep practicing and bye.